This episode includes references to suicidal thoughts and may be triggering to those who have experienced past trauma. Hello, everyone. I am Corey Andrew Powell, and welcome to Motivational Mondays, of course. And I am so excited to be joined today by model, actress, and bodybuilder Nacone Martin. Now, she's a living testament to transformation, and she's currently preparing for an upcoming fitness competition. So we're going to talk about that. The once sheltered and former shy girl joins me today to discuss her traumatic. Yes, just who you are today. However, you do come from a background of overcoming a traumatic childhood, being bullied, battling low self-esteem, and at one point even contemplating suicide, as you shared with me once in a previous interview. And that all
Yes.
changed. That all changed when a friend invited you to join him at the gym, and it changed
Yes.
everything, right? Um,
Yes.
so Nacone, welcome to Motivational Mondays.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. And also, before we begin, full transparency, Nacone and I did go to school together. We were in the little town that we grew up in, and went to high school together. And it's amazing to me that how we were cordial in high school. We didn't have the same cliques. I think you
Right.
graduated maybe a year before me, but we were there at the same time. Um,
Yes.
you were always kind, always sweet, always with a smile, always shy and reserved and introverted.
Yes.
So when I found you later on Facebook and I saw this other woman, this other person, honey, who was in the gym and she was on TV and modeling and acting, I was like, wow, I want to know that story. So, you know, that's what we're going to talk about today. And I want to start though when you were younger. What was that school time like for you when we really maybe didn't know each other well, but I saw you in the halls. What was life like for you then?
Yeah, it's so crazy because like you said, I was very insecure. You know, um, I was liked, but I was not a popular girl. And I used to get teased for the girl that had the stick figure body, like no boobs, no butt, no nothing, just straight up and down, long and lean. And I was watching the other girls around me, the hot girls, have the hot bods, definitely have the great personalities, the popular girls. So I was the girl like during, when you transition from class to class, I was like standing on the side of the lockers with like one or two of my close friends. And that was it. You know what I mean? Like I was the girl that went to parties when I was allowed to go to parties because my parents didn't even allow me to do a lot of things that teenagers were allowed to do. And I would be the girl standing on the wall, watching everybody else have a good time, wishing that, wow, I wish I wasn't afraid to get out there and dance, or I wish I wasn't afraid to get out there and just have a conversation and just exist. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's amazing because a lot of us we realize it later in life how high school is obviously a microcosm of the real world. And that's all you know. Like your entire social structure is there. It's all relied upon with relationships, people and cliques, and it can be very,
yeah,
very difficult for a lot of kids.
true.
And yeah, and you talked about at some point being bullied as well, which is
Yeah,
such a big topic today with schools and
yeah,
children and the
yeah.
internet, right? So tell me about your experience with being bullied and how it impacted you and how you got through that.
Man, I was bullied in fifth grade, believe it or not, by three girls. And it was so crazy because it was so confusing, even looking back, like thinking on it. I'm like, wow, what a mess. Because one day we were friends, and the next day they were like trying to kick my butt. So I just remember really, really wanting these girls to like me and would do anything for them to like me. I don't even know why they didn't like me. I was later told it was jealousy. It was maybe their home life versus my home life, or because I had long hair. It was said that my mother dressed me like a doll, and their backgrounds maybe weren't as great as mine. I came from a two-parent family, you know what I mean? I was
Mm,
like that middle class girl, and maybe
yeah.
they weren't. So
Mm,
I don't know. But, that whole fifth grade year, I just got bullied, even to the point where, and even with bullying, when I hear about it today, I'm so happy that it is being taken more seriously because thank God for me, I had parents that were involved. My mother was the one who was talking to the principal up at the school every time I had an issue. My mother even went and confronted one of the girls' parents. You know what
Mm.
I mean? And we all
Wow.
had a sit down. I'll never forget that. But guess what? A couple of days later, they were right back to bullying me.
Mm.
So, it was crazy. I got through it, and the how I got through it, it's pretty funny. Where my father said to me, "You know what? I'm sick of this crap," and he used a different word. He said, "I'm going to teach you how to fight." Because I didn't want to fight. Don't forget, I'm introverted. I'm wearing glasses. I just want to be liked and accepted, and
Hmm.
that's it. So my father was like, after dinner every night, I'm going to take you in the basement and I'm going to teach you how to fight. And
Wow.
we did that. And we did that for like a week. And the next time these girls confronted me, and mind you, all three girls were confront me at one time. So I didn't know who was going to be giving out the butt whipping.
Mm.
So I remember, and I was so stupid. They would be like, "Come on, let's go behind this building. We got a surprise for you." I swear to God.
And you'd be like,
And
okay, all right.
right, my
Yeah.
dumb, gullible self would be like, "Okay," because I just wanted these girls to like me.
Mm.
So we go behind this building, and guess what? They're trying to pull out a can of whoop ass on me. Not
Mm.
that day, because that day I fought back. I got angry. I kicked their butts, and that was the end of the bullying. You know what I mean?
And so
So
you that really was and seriously though, that really that moment you fought back, that did
yeah,
change everything.
yes, it did. It
Mm.
did. You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's crazy. And one of them, you know who she is, but she will remain nameless.
Yes,
We're
yes, yes.
cool. We're cool today.
Yeah.
We're cool today. You know what I mean? So I don't even know. She's never really acknowledged it. It's just it is what it is. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
But
Yeah, we
yeah.
did talk about who that person was off because we know because we went to school. And I was surprised at that. And I think what's interesting is like I didn't have any clue that was going on with you. And you raise a great point. In school like that, we don't really know what's going on in those little groups and those cliques. And
Right.
we need parents and we need teachers to get involved. And even in this case, your mother did get involved and it
Yeah.
still
That
continued,
was
right?
successful. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's really, really important. And but listen, you're better than me because I don't know if I could be friends with my well, that's not true. I think I am actually, I take that back. I am friends with a couple bullies who did the same thing to me. And I will tell you after we're done recording who they are. Um,
They know you were bullied yourself.
yeah, I was too. And it's funny, I never talked about that. But and I would tell you something that's interesting that people who are watching and listening should know. There is some psychology too to the idea that sometimes a person who is bullied will in fact find someone weaker to bully. It's like a cycle. Now they have to sort of exercise that frustration. And so they'll find, and I didn't realize that apparently someone accused me of that, years later on Facebook, a friend from high school said, you were a bully to me when we were in elementary
Wow.
school. And I'm like, wait, me? Like, I don't think so. And as I thought back on it, uh,
Yeah.
they were absolutely right. And so this is a conversation to have because it not only makes us aware that it's happening, but I think it could be a cycle that can continue with
Yeah.
other children, you know?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I don't think I've never gone on to bully anyone, and
Right.
my
Right.
problem has always been that I was the nice girl, very meek. It's in my later years in life that I'm like, yeah, I'm not taking your crap. But it
Mm,
took me a long time to get to that point. I was always the person, I just want everybody to like me. I don't want anybody to say anything bad about me. And if I found out someone had said something bad about me or felt indifferent towards me, I would be the woman, oh my God, I got to find out why they don't like me.
mm,
What I can do to fix it. Where I'm
yeah.
like, okay, give a rat's butt now. You know what I mean? It's just
Yes,
my,
yes.
but
Well, it's interesting too about that conversation. I've had talks with many women on the show from all aspects of society, just maybe everyday worker women, women who are working in businesses, up to the CEOs, up to people who are, founders of companies. And there's this consistent thing that women are sort of programmed to want to be liked by everyone. You know, there's even a book, I forgot the author. Gosh, I have the book. She's an amazing author who was a former CEO of PepsiCo, or it might have been Coca-Cola. I interviewed her such a while back, but she has a book called You Should Smile More, which is what they would like kind of tell women and you know,
Yeah.
in the business space so they'd be more liked. And like you don't tell men that. So I think you are in a way a girl who's a product of that program.
Yes. I'm still told that today. If I post something like you, I'm sure you see a lot of times I'm posing, we'll get into that. I'm not smiling. Oh, you should smile. Your smile is so beautiful. Or it's like, dude, what I'm doing is not called for smiling at this
Right.
particular moment. Just rock with
Right.
me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't gotta be smiling 24/7. It's
Yeah.
like crazy, but I don't know. I just feel like too, in line with what you're saying. Like I just remember being a little girl. You're not supposed to be aggressive. You're not supposed to be loud. You're supposed to be very dainty and kind of like
Hmm.
mysterious. And even the way like watching my parents, the way they interacted, my aunts and uncles, because everybody was married. The woman was always sort of like behind the man. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I think that's the perception, but it's no way like that today.
No,
But
no. And also too with you, I think you mentioned before about you were sort of like expected to yourself assume like the domestic roles, right? Even for your family, like cooking
yes,
and
yes,
and and you know sometimes that then also your own family is sort of limiting your growth in that regard. So tell me about like the idea of how you say you were sheltered and also you had this sort of very no, I don't say a confined home life, but you were there,
yeah.
your parents were very sort of surrounding you.
And it's so funny because I've even been reflecting on that. My mother, I was never allowed to really go to a girlfriend's home, was never, ever, ever allowed to spend the night over any girlfriend's home. I was the kid where, okay, you can go to the movies, but you need to be home by 11. And if you're not out the house by 8, 9 o'clock to go to said destination, you're not going anywhere.
Mm.
So my friends, they used to tease me like they didn't want to be bothered with me. Oh my God, we got to pick her up. No, we don't want her to go because she got to be
Mm.
home by 11. Meanwhile, all my friends, they're out wilding. They can come home, when they come home. And by
Yeah.
this time, we're in high school. That most people have licenses. We're driving around. No,
Mm.
it was just like so crazy. My mom
Yeah.
wasn't having it. She was not having none of that. I was very sheltered. And
Mm.
even like today, I'm like, wow. Because you know what, Corey, in
Mm.
retrospect, if I was a parent today, I probably wouldn't allow my child to be spending the night at people's houses
Yeah,
the way
yeah.
the world is right now and how
Hmm.
people are crazy. So I kind of get that. Oh, my mom
Yeah.
was probably just trying to protect me from a situation. Back
Hmm.
then, I thought she was just being rotten. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah,
dang,
yeah.
you don't want me to have any friends. This is what girls do. They hang out on Saturday nights. But I get it. But
Yeah,
yes, I
yeah.
was very sheltered. I was like in a box, you know what I mean? Until I got to college. And that went downhill fast because when I got to college, I made up for all the things that I couldn't
Oh,
do in college.
yes, yes. And see, that's a great point too, Nacone, because there is that balance when young people, and again, people who are listening and watching, if you are this young person, be careful. Or if you are a parent out there who has a young college age kid, be very careful of this because when you shelter a young person to that degree and they get out in the free world, then they don't know how to navigate those experiences or gauge their emotions because everything
Yes,
is so new. They want to try everything and
yes.
do everything, and then
I
that
was
can
not
be,
mature.
yeah.
Yes,
Mm.
just wild out. Oh my goodness. I think after the first week, I was done. Like, I wasn't going to class anymore. I was up, like, my schedule was ridiculous. I would be up all night partying with
Mm.
the kids. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I went right here, right here. It's now the College of New Jersey, but
Oh,
it was
so it
Trenton
was
State.
Trenton State.
So
Yeah. So
I
you were at
still had my friends. I still had my hometown. So man, I would come in at some ridiculous time and I would be coming home to go to bed and my roommate would be getting up to go to class. That's how ridiculous I was. I only got up to wash my butt, eat, and party.
Oh,
So
no.
I did that.
And we have to laugh because people who don't really realize how close our neighborhoods were, like we literally could walk to that university like in
Yep,
20, not even 20, like 15
yep,
minutes from our
yep,
house where we grew up, and we could walk
yep,
to it. And so you were just that was your first time living alone or living on your
yes,
own. You moved
yep,
on campus and
yep.
you carried on, honey. You carried
Yeah,
on.
I carried. Well, now, meanwhile, before that, I went to Mercer County College for a year, did
Hmm.
really well. I went to Trenton State. I commuted for the first semester, did really well. So my parents said, as a reward, we're going to let you go ahead and live on campus. And I was excited. Like I knew my roommate. Like it was crazy. Our
Yeah.
families met. Oh, it was going to, man, Corey, 1 week. And it was downhill in flames. And
So what happened? Did you end up graduating or not then or
no,
later? Or what
sir.
happened?
I came home pregnant. That's what happened. Like
Wow.
my degree was in sex education. Okay. So at the age of 19, I came home,
Yeah. And you're like,
and
Mom, Dad, I gotta tell you something. How did that go over?
it didn't go over well.
Hmm.
So like I hid my pregnancy. That's the other part because I was so small. Like I hid my pregnancy until I was like 6 months, and then I told my father, and my father in return told my mother. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? But I did go back to school after my son was born. I did go back to school. I never graduated. I'm
Hmm.
close. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's really trifling because I think I'm like 12 credits away from my degree.
Listen, I'm not going to lecture you with that, but it is so important if you are that close, just
I know.
dedicate that last year because, I had credits too that I had no idea were still valid years later when I decided to go back. I dropped out too. It's common. A lot of people, a lot of,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I went back almost, my gosh, 15 plus years later to find that I had 12 credits still remaining and I used them towards my degree as electives. And so,
Yes.
so please, if you,
Right.
have time to map that out, go and finish that up
Yeah. Yeah.
if you can.
Yeah.
But,
So,
well, listen, but even separate from that, though, you've gone on to do amazing things. And the reason why I want to tell that story too is because again, young people, college age people may find themselves in that situation. It's not the end of the world. You had a
right.
child, did your thing, and still created the life that you wanted, but you still had some difficult times that
Did.
you had to overcome. So as a new mom, what was that like for you overcoming that adversity and trying to figure out what was going on?
It was hard. I lived with my parents. Thank God I had my parents. I'm grateful for them. But it was difficult. Like my mother was difficult. And I'm not, no way do I want to bash my mother because she did the best that she could. I did have a great childhood, regardless of what it sounds like. I know I was loved, but I don't know, my mother's love was just kind of different. And even now in my adulthood, I'm talking to like my godfather and other people who are basically now spilling the tea about the family history and that my mother was a product of this and therefore she
Mm.
parented me like this and you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
now it's
it's
all
just,
making sense to you. Like,
man, yes. And I
yeah.
mean I just learned some stuff not even a year ago that really shocked me. Like
Mm.
what? So um yeah, it's crazy. But I was here at home with my parents trying to work, still trying to go to school. But as you know, like the one thing that I loved and was most passionate about in my dream was to be a model. So I had an opportunity like years before when I was in high school. I had a cousin who was actually an agent in New York and
Mm.
she had belief in me and wanted to like represent me or just whatever, work with me. And the first blow to my ego was my mother. She told her no. She was like, because Nacone is not smart enough. She's not intelligent enough.
Mm.
She would be the girl who would be on someone's casting couch,
Mm.
that type of thing. So, and even after I had my child, my mother was like, no one's ever going to want you. You're spoiled goods.
Mm.
You're ruined. Um, not to be graphic, but she was like, you ain't shit and you ain't never going to be shit. And, she
Well,
would,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but right
mm-hmm,
there, let me ask you about that. So in her mind, you having a baby out of wedlock was the issue, like
but
that you weren't,
yes.
yeah, that you weren't married. So in her mind, that made you sort of like to be ostracized by society.
Yes. She was like, your life is over. And no man, decent man is going to want you. He's not
Hmm.
going to marry you. You're like, you know what I mean? Because you've had your legs open. Yeah, and my mom was graphic. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So it's
Hmm.
like, and my problem was I believed that. You know what I mean? I believe that a lot of things that she told me, and that's just a snippet of some of the things that she told me. So I carried that with me for years, even after she died. My mother died when I was 26. And still some things, I'm 54,
Hmm.
and some things I still have to be like, no, you know what I mean? Like, that's not true. Cut it out. Don't fall back into that thinking.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Very important point with that too, because when I speak often about people who are dealing with esteem issues or they're dealing with just trying to have confidence in themselves. Very often, it's this voice that's being repeated in their head that tells them they're not good enough. But we point out that 9 times out of 10, that voice is not actually yours. You are
Yes.
just replaying all the stuff other people have said about you. And that could be your mom, that could be your friends,
Yes.
anyone who doesn't believe in
Yes.
you,
Oh my God.
right?
Yeah, look, and I'm getting emotional because,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's real.
It's real. It's
You
real. And
know,
that's why you
and
gotta not listen
my
to
life,
those.
but it either went this way based on happenings and what I believed, or the way that it has gone. It was just that
Mhm.
close for me.
Yeah, yeah. I know,
So
honey. I know. It's definitely all of us.
yes,
We
yeah,
have those people, and
oh God,
sometimes
yeah,
family can be the family can be the
and
worst
the
sometimes.
worst,
Yeah.
the worst, yeah,
Yeah, and I know, and to again to your mother's credit, though, I mean it is difficult, I guess, especially when you have a young woman in our society, because our parents, a lot of times, based on where they're from, they were programmed also to just expect the worst from society when it came to how they dealt with women, because it was a very
yeah.
chauvinistic society, and you know, and if you take it, make it, and add the South to it, if that's a part of it, that's even
Yep,
more. The dynamic is stronger there about how women are treated, and then they
yeah.
continue that cycle when they raise their
It's so true.
daughters.
I was an embarrassment. That's what my mother told me. She told me I was an embarrassment to her, the family, and she, of course, had great expectations for me. She wanted me to finish college and get that degree. So when
Yeah,
I announced, oh, you're going to be a grandmother,
that was
I'm sure
not
that was
quite.
shocking. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
that was not
Not
quite
quite
what she had in plan.
right how things were supposed to go, but
Well, listen, that is what it is. That's called biology. You have sex, and a baby can happen, and that's what we. That's pretty much how we all got here. So
right.
it's what it is. But I do want to know at that point. So how do you break from that that familial situation? You have a child, and you have a mom who's still sort of in your head talking to you about not being good enough. How do you find the strength at that point to evolve and move forward, or did you not at that time? What
No,
happened?
I did. Well, you know that story too. For me, it was like my first love, I always said, was modeling. My second love is fitness, and that's how I broke through. Like I always say, fitness saved my life. I tried to commit suicide when I was pregnant.
Hmm.
I just didn't want to be here anymore because I believe what my mother said. No one's going to want me. No one's going to love me. I'm uneducated now. You know what I mean? I don't have any skills. Like, what am I going to do? And I'm like,
Hmm.
I think, and I was so screwed up. I was like, I think it's just best if me and my baby were dead. My baby
Hmm.
and I will die together, and that'll be that. And then in the same token, I was like, I'm going to show her. I'm going to fix her. I'm going to commit suicide, and then she'll feel the guilt of that
Right.
all her
Yeah.
life. Now deal with that. I mean, that's how. So a little bit of time passed, and I had a friend. His name was Terrence. He's still in the gym too. He said to me, we were really cool. I met him at Trenton State, and he said to me, "Look, why don't you come to the gym? Because now." Not only that, I had all these issues. Like I was 90 pounds. You know what I mean? I
Very
had no
thin.
shape, no figure. I was known for being light skinned with pretty hair. That was my claim to fame, and I'm like, I wasn't happy with who I was internally or when I looked in the mirror. So couldn't afford plastic surgery. This is my little joke. So I went to the gym and man,
But wait a minute, the cost of gyms nowadays, hell, that's might be
right,
cheaper
I know.
cheaper than the
Tell me about
surgery.
I know. I have a few memberships and I'm like,
Yeah,
Lord,
yeah. I mean, more
you
expensive
like
than the
the
surgery. Yeah.
Barbie or something,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but so yeah, I went into the gym and that was it. I never turned back. That was it. A lot of camaraderie in there. Like that became my family. Oh my God, I got the belief of self. Those men and women in there, oh, they just really uplifted me. And then of course the transformation of my body started to happen. I'm like, oh, I'm getting a little muscular, or I'm
Yeah.
changing some things. Um, and then that gave me the courage to really be outside. Like,
hmm
and I started delving into modeling and getting involved with like local productions, and I did that for years. And then through the networking, even you have helped me in my path.
hmm
And then through the networking and the connections, I was able to get an agent. And it's my story is crazy because I didn't obtain agency representation until I was 39.
Right,
And
right.
people, you remember, and people were telling me that I was crazy. I was being referred to by friends and family as an old ass model. You know what I mean? Or
Again,
if I
people,
said,
people.
I've been in music videos with Jay-Z, Rihanna, those people, and then I found out like my family members would be like, she's how old and she's doing music videos? Like,
hmm
really? You know what I mean? But
Ridiculous.
then now I'm on TV for Foreman Mills, or they see me in Power, and it's like, oh my God, that's my cousin. That's what I mean. So I'm just like,
Listen, I
yeah,
know.
that's right. I know you know.
I told you I was watching. I'm an ID channel fanatic. I love the ID channel, and I was watching Forensic Files one night, and I was like, and they cut to like a woman scientist doing the mitochondrial DNA test in the laboratory. She put her hair behind and and I said, "Oh my gosh, that's Nicole, that's Nicole in there." And I was like, "Wow!" And I just saw you doing your thing on like the ID channel. I'm like, "Wow, that's like my homegirl from like grew up in the same neighborhood, and she's doing her thing and did not let other people hold her back." I mean, I was really just
Finally.
yeah, finally. It was so
Finally.
impressive. Yeah.
Took me a while, but even at
hmm
the age of 39, getting agency representation, I just remember having that meeting and that agent, and I still have it today.
hmm
And he telling me like, "Welcome to the family,"
Yeah.
and me walking outside that door and collapsing on the floor in the hallway and sobbing. You know what I
Right,
mean? Like
right.
still emotional because
Yeah, because you felt
all that went
validated,
through
right?
my head. You know what I mean? My mother
Mm.
telling me, "You're never going to be shit." My friends laughing at me behind my back. And I'm like, oh my God, I am a signed now and working like for real
hmm
commercial model. How many people do you know? They say, "Oh, I'm a model."
Right.
And
Well,
like, me, I'm like, you ain't really a model unless you got representation. You
right.
know what I mean?
And you're
So,
working, and especially
right.
now because everybody's a model on Instagram.
IG model, right,
Right.
exactly.
That's
So
not the
it's like,
same
oh,
thing.
right.
Yeah.
But in that moment, I was like, no, I am a bona fide commercial model.
hmm
So yeah, that
And
was a really great moment.
yes, yes, and with the fitness evolution for you, just to go into that
Yeah,
place, when I
yeah,
saw the transformation of your body, it was from you posting a lot of the transformation series of photos on your Facebook. And I was like, okay. I mean, you went from being shapely to like, wow, okay, that's she's really looking great. Then it's like, yo, she is like not playing right now with that gym. Like she is really about
right.
to like she is ripped to shreds. And I was so shocked. And then I think when I interviewed you for the Core Issues podcast years ago, the first time, you were just weeks away from doing your first fitness
Yeah,
competition. And I think we did an interview for Fit Figures magazine. Shout out
yeah,
to Dion.
yes,
Um,
hello, yes,
yeah, yeah. So you really took it seriously, and you were doing your first, and you Now you didn't. I think you did get a medal your first one, right? Your first competition.
Got a medal at every competition,
Oh,
baby.
okay. I stand corrected. I mean, you literally, yeah. When I saw you on stage with the medals, I mean, and these are really serious competitions. Like these are like the pro. I mean, like the elevations to like the pro
Yes,
competitions,
definitely.
right?
That, yeah, so that's the next goal. So you start in regional, and then you have to place in regional, and then once you place in regional, you can go on to the national stage, and the national stage is where you compete to get your pro card. And a
Hmm.
pro card is, because a lot of people are like, what's a pro card? So a pro card is basically just a validation that's saying that you are a professional bodybuilder, and my
Hmm.
federation is the IFBB. So
Yes,
we a top dog. They're the most prestigious, federation as far as bodybuilding. So it is very,
absolutely.
very hard, very, very hard to turn pro. But I'm proud to say that I competed for my pro card, last season, and I came in second place twice. I was like
Hmm.
1 point away from getting my pro card.
Oh,
So I'm about to do it again. So hopefully, God will show me some favor and this will be my
yes.
season, but I'm working hard, because I start competing in June. So we'll
Well, it's so
see.
funny because I saw you. I was home, visiting, and I ran into you, and I have to laugh because we ran into each other in the candy aisle,
Right.
which is, which I'm telling
Yes,
all the business, but I did. We ran into
yes,
each other, but that was like you were still in your break, so you weren't really ready, and you were like, "Well,
right.
I'm about to
Yeah,
start
because
training
that was
again."
what? That was like Thanksgiving that I
Yeah,
seen
I think
you.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
around
So my
November.
prep didn't start till January. So I was still able to live. I ain't
Yeah.
living now.
Well, I see the difference. That's why I'm looking at your
Yeah.
pictures now. And I'm like, wow, she's really
Yeah.
disciplined because, we were both like, okay, we're going to be eating now. It's Thanksgiving. We're cool. We both put a little bit more round. One of us still is more round. It's not you. It's
You're
not
so funny.
you.
Oh my God.
But you
So great.
definitely
Come on,
have,
baby.
well, I could be better, but I will say you definitely inspired me. I mean, I go to your Facebook often just to see what you're doing. I get inspired by that. You have a
Thanks.
wonderful fitness brand, which is your name spelled backwards.
Yes.
And I have all these lovely t-shirts you gave me, so
Yeah.
I work out in them. And yeah, you
Yes.
are an inspiration.
Thank
Seriously. You
Right back
really are.
at you, buddy. Right
Thank
back at
you.
you. Your famous clapbacks. I live for them. I'm like, oh, did we clap back today? You guys got to, oh my God. Oh,
Yeah.
your clapbacks are the best.
Well,
Oh my
thank
goodness.
you. I try. Listen, and here's the thing about when Nicole is referring to when I have my political debates on social media, and rather than come back with nasty snide remarks, I hit back with data and facts in my own very special, unique way of delivering.
Listen, the one about Whoopi. Oh my
Oh,
God. Oh my God.
Whoopi Goldberg,
Clap.
yes.
Love
Yeah, I
it.
mean, I have to, that's listen, you have your thing, I'm good with words.
Yes,
So we all have
you
our
are.
gifts. So
Yes.
so you're currently getting ready for a competition. When is that competition coming up?
So June 1st is my first show in Miami. It's what I
Mm,
call a warm-up show. So a warm-up show is just me getting the feels out, practicing the posing, getting used to the stage, basically seeing how I do, how I compare with the other women. And then 4 weeks later, July 5th is when I will go for my pro card.
mm,
So,
mm.
and if I miss it there, then in Pittsburgh, a few weeks later, I'm going to try again there. So
Yeah,
I'll have
I
two
love
shots
it.
at my pro card, and we'll see.
Mhm.
We are working so hard. I'm really excited because I'm ahead of where I was last year. I know my physique is going to be better, so excited about that.
Mhm.
So
Well,
yeah,
I absolutely love it. No, I think that I have a good feeling about it. You're going to get that pro card. 2024 is definitely your year to get that pro card. I'm going to tell you. Nacone Martin, oh my goodness. Again, I hope you guys out there who are listening and watching know why I just absolutely love this woman so much. And you're just the real deal. And I love your honesty. I love that you just, you share and you are an inspiration to many, including me, as I said. So thank you so much for being here today with me on
thank,
Motivational Mondays.
thank you.
If you or someone you know is experiencing suicidal thoughts or a crisis, please reach out immediately to the Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800-273-8255 or text HOME to the crisis text line at 741-741. These services are free and confidential.